we will have a test next week. It's going to be a 12 question, and you will be answering 10 questions. It will be very similar to the quiz. The marks of the quiz should be uploaded this week, hopefully. I've already corrected them. The only reason for the quiz is just to give you a feeling about how is the test is going to be. So it's going to be very similar to the quiz. But the only thing is that there is a 12 question, you answer 10 of them. And it's an open book test. Okay. Let's start first with a short video, if you don't mind. So that's what we'll talk about today, about the project management and projects in general.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So, can I ask you to do a favor?
Yes.
So, can your quiz be quiz like multiple choice, not like questions?
You are not the instructor here. No, it's just questions. And it's important that you don't quiz things, because quizzing is it's not for secondary education. Quizzes is for the short things for somebody who's in a high school probably, or a short test. You will have a 12 question, 10 of them you have to write. And anybody who doesn't like it, I mean, that's fine. But that's the way it's supposed to be go in the secondary education, because you are supposed to know how to write, how to read, and how to understand things. So quizzes would not give you the chance of understanding anything, actually. It's just, it's a simple things.
So how long it takes, sir?
It will take the whole time. So the next class, I will give you the whole time to write the exam. Okay? So every question will have 10 minutes, and you have a 12 question. You choose 10 of them. Okay? Thank you very much. So we will start the class, if you don't mind. This is about a company who does a project management and does a project.
The environment.
Let me stop it now, because I don't think I shared the screen properly. Now you can hear it better.
The environment in which any company does business never stands still. It changes constantly and rapidly. The ability of any company to stay competitive in this changing environment is contingent upon its product development capabilities. New product development is often the catalyst for improving market share and financial performance and invigorating the company from top to bottom. Developing new products, whether manufactured or a service, or a thrill or entertaining experience, is a well-defined and calculated process. It is a project, and it needs to be managed. Larry Chicola is no stranger to roller coasters. He is the chief corporate engineer for Six Flags and is responsible for all the engineering activities at the company's 29 theme parks throughout North America.
In my current position, we have 29 theme parks around North America, and we have about 1,000 or 1,200 different rides in those parks. And my job is to oversee a group of engineers that spread out around the country, and we take care of technical issues. We work on new rides as they come in so that they meet our standards. We design rides, we design parts of rides, we upgrade rides that aren't performing the way we like. We do a lot of project work. As far as new construction, we'll oversee projects and assist parks in the project management of new construction. So we have our hands in about everything that goes on in the amusement park in regards to any of the technical and construction work.
Larry's most recent project was managing the construction of the world's tallest and fastest roller coaster at the park in New Jersey, Kingda Ka.
The Kingda Ka project started in about January of 2004 in the conceptual planning stages. And we sat around in some meetings up at the corporate office, and the decision was made that the company wanted to have the tallest and fastest roller coaster in the world, and that would be the right thing for this park at this location here in New Jersey. And after reviewing it, I made the recommendation that we went with the hydraulic launch system. The design began at that point, and equipment started to arrive at Six Flags in the fall of that year, and construction started in earnest maybe in September, October, with our opening in May of 2005.
Successful project management requires careful control of and monitoring of all critical resources, raw materials, equipment, people, money, and time. Professional project managers are skilled at planning for the interaction of these elements in order to meet the demands and constraints of a particular project.
And our construction site work began in the summertime. Everything goes in a process, and it starts from the ground up. So the first steps are the preparation of the site, clearing of the site. Foundation construction began in July, and then from there, we were off to the races.
At the same time, production began on the tubular steel supports that would make up most of the ride, as well as the cars that would eventually carry the theme park guests.
First steel erection started in September. The steel of the ride is, for the most part, what we call a mild construction steel, equivalent to a US A36 type of a steel. It's kind of a medium strength steel, typical for construction. There is an impressive hydraulic system. It is capable of putting out about 12,000 horsepower instantaneously, which is about the same as a top fuel dragster. And it gets us up to 128 miles an hour in about 3.5 seconds, launching a 20,000-pound train. Everything has there's certain things that have to happen before other things, and foundations design first, foundations, then steel goes up on top of it, finish all the wiring, put it all together, and turn it into a ride.
Any Six Flags project begins with a Statement of Work, or SOW. This
Okay. Anybody has question regarding the quiz? The test coming soon. Can you write it for me on the right side, please? It's going to be 12 questions, and you need to answer 10 of them. It's going to be next week, and the reason I chose the next week is because I know this week you have so many tests and exams. So this is the reason I didn't put it in this week, is because I know most of you guys are writing some tests or exams in this week. Okay. I think let me just stop this video. There we go. I believe it's stopped. Now, one more announcement. I don't see you very active on the dashboard, on a Padlet, nor active in other tools that I've created. So please, if you are not active, then don't ask me for any favors. It is just it's favors returns to a favor. So you're not doing me a favor, actually. No, it's for you, for your good, to go on a Padlet and share the thoughts and learn from everybody else. So the whole concept is Padlet is a place where you can understand how to write questions, open-ended questions. And if you're not using it today, I'm pretty sure when you start working, they will ask you to use this kind of application. By that time, you will be stuck of how to use it, this kind of application, because you're going to face a collaborative situation where you need to work with others. And if you cannot work with others, it means you cannot work because these people needs you to work with others. Anyway, we'll go talk about the projects and project management. And basically, it's about, we'll talk about the project management today and different type of the project. It's a chapter 5. Your quiz will be whatever we covered, which is chapter 1, 2, 3, and 5, hopefully, or chapter 1, 2, 4, and 5. Chapter 1, 2, 4, and 5. All the notes that I sent to you, you're being updated for this the thing. Now, today what we begin learning is explain what projects are and how projects are organized, evaluate the project using earned value management, because we need to evaluate and see whether we are, the project that we're working on it, is it gaining, there is a benefit in it? And then we need to analyze a project using the network planning models and exemplify how the network planning models and the earned value management are implemented in commercial softwares. So what's a project? The definition says it's a series of related job usually directed toward some major output and requirement a significant time to perform. So with this definition means there is a three things involved in it. It's a work, series of work that will take time and will take source, which is could be money or knowledge or something like that. So it's a series of related jobs, usually directed toward some major output, just like a building something. So you do small stuff connected to each other, and to build something. When you do, for example, in China, they can build a 30 stories building within 2 weeks. But what they do, they break down the work and they put it together and then they finalize it. So what's a project management? It's a planning, directing, and controlling resources. So a project manager, what he will do, he will plan for it, direct, control it, control the people, equipment, materials, all these things. And in order to meet the technical, the cost and time constraint of the project. And his job is really supervising all these things together and maneuvering between on to meet that target. And why project management is important is at the highest level of our organization, there is a limited resources. There is a juggling between different projects. So project management is important because they need to know when they can do some certain stuff at a certain time to deliver the goal that they put on it. There is a 3 type of project. There is a self-contained team work full of time on a project. So you bring a team and their job is to do a project management, the whole team. There is the second one who is a functional and is usually I don't understand the question. Did there is any book assigned by you? And we have, well, this is the book, and I've already made that announcement earlier. If you go back to the announcement that I made on, and I saved them on YouTube, you will find out what books we're talking about this book. And it is available. There's also, you got my notes. Anyway, Pure Project, a self-contained team works full-time on a project. The functional project is not a team. It is within the organization. You pick a team who will be working on it as a part-time. So the responsibility for the project lies within one functional area of the firm. And employees from that area works on this project, and usually as a part-time. So they're juggling between different work together. And the metrics one is the what's going on these today. So there is a 4 or 5 project, and people are working across all these projects. So to finish each one, and it's as a matrix approach to it. Now, the advantage of it is the fact that the project, the first one advantage is the fact that the pure one is the project manager has full authority, because it's a closed team and nobody else is giving them advising them or telling them what they're supposed to be. So the manager has a full authority on them, and the team member report to one boss. So there is not many bosses there. And also shorten the communication line. So, and the whole team is usually together, stuck together, and they have pride of each other. Now, the only thing is the bad part of it is the duplication of resources. So they bring in people who are supposed to, have places to work on it, and they have to duplicate all the resources. Organization goals and policies is totally ignored because they are a closed team, so they don't look out of that team. So they're not going to look at what the organizational goals or policies. They're there to build these things or to deliver this thing. And then once they're done, they leave. So there might be deficiencies in the and technology transfer to the rest of the organization. And team members have no function, so they're not at home, so they're not there. This and that's what makes it as a disadvantage. So if there's something goes wrong, they don't, support them. Now, in the case of this, the third type of project, the functional project, is the fact that advantages them. The team members can be on a several projects because they are functional projects, and they can be on a different, so they can flip between one work to another, so they don't stay idle. The technical expertise maintained in the functional area, so they don't leave the organization, they're staying there, so the expertise is there. And critical mass of, there is lots of specialization, they collect lots of knowledge, and the functional area in a home after the project completed. So these are the parts. Let me figure out something, because I'm just hold on a second. Okay, let me see. Just trying to do something and I cannot find it. Anyway, doesn't matter because there is the mouse is not showing very well. The disadvantage aspect of the project that are not directly related to the functional areas, and the motivation of the team members is often weak. And because they know that once these projects they might finish, they're going to go to another project and another project, and there is no move up or betterment of their job. But the problem also, they don't look at the clients. They look at their own organization. What do they need? And that's where is the issues. So the needs of the clients are secondaries. The standard of project management is the Matrix one. The one is everybody's using today is the Matrix one. And because it has a project manager who is responsible for the whole resources for delivering all the project. So it has a better communication, and it's also more toward the policies of the company, so of the brand, so it follows the policies. The disadvantage, because there is when you work in one project, you might have a second boss who is your immediate boss. So you have two jobs in one position, one as a part of the project team, and you report to the project manager A, but in the same time you report to your supervisor for the other work. So there is too many bosses sometimes, and sometimes the success depends on how strong is the project manager, his skills of negotiation, his connection. If he's weak, the project would not be delivered on time. So these are the issues that you are facing while you are working on project management. Now, away from type of project management, let's discuss the project itself, made of what. So when you do a project, there is a statement of work, what we are doing. So if you notice in the video, it says we want to build the highest roller coaster or the longest roller coaster. So this is a statement of work, so a written description of the objective to be achieved. Now, the task is about a further subdivision of the project. So you break down the project in a smaller, the goal in smaller tasks, which is usually within the first 6 months we'll do this, with 7 months after 1 year we'll do this. And this is a probably you need to break it down, since if you leave it for 3 or 4 years to finish a project, you might things go wrong. But if you break it down, you know your accomplishment, how much is done. And then a work package is a group of activities combined to be assignable to a single organization. So what do you do? For example, when you are trying to implement something or build something, you break it down and you give it time, and you break it further. You break it down according to the organization. So if you have an organization whose job is really doing the accounting, you give them the accounting part of it. An organization whose job is to train, you give it to the HR. So you break it down to details of according to your organization and unit of organization that you have. As I said, you use the project milestone is you set up a time saying by 3 or 4 months or 1 year, this what we have to accomplish. So it's all these has to be written and saved and filed. And then you do a work breakdown structures. So you define who is in charge, this is a group who is reporting to whom, and then there is a project manager, and there is a business analysis, and there is a different, so you do a hierarchies, project task, work, and subtask. I'll bring you in the end of the class an example to look at it to see how these things will work together. Then the activities, and then once you break down the packages and the work, and then you place the work that consume time. So pieces of work, activities means pieces of work that consume time. So whatever is, when you broke down the whole work and you give it to different organization, units in your organization, and then you need to put a timing on that, saying this is how much work is needed on these projects. So here is just an example. What we have is you start with a project and a program, and the program is made of, say, 2 projects, 3 projects, whatever. And then there is a task and subtask, and then work project. They are divided on a detail base. So you need to break it down to a work package so you to reach that. Don't worry about this, but this is all it's gonna is basically what it's telling you the process of breaking down the whole details of project. So optical stimulator design, this is the project, and then you break it down to 1.1 optical, just like this one, then 1.1 task, then 1.11 subtask, and work breakdown. So this is what does that mean? So that you do a breakdown of the task. Now, the better way, once you did the breakdown of the task, then you use something called a Gantt chart. And the Gantt chart is usually shows you the time and the duties that you have to do. So let's say in here, you have a contract negotiation. So it will take 2 weeks of your time to do a contract negotiation, then another 2 weeks to do a contract assign. And once the contract got assigned, then you start working in parallel. For example, in a long lead procurement, you start doing procurement, and at the same time you start manufacturing schedule because you need to adjust your employees, and it gives you the breakdown as a Gantt chart how the things is working. So the chart provide an easily understood visual presentation. As you see, it's very easy to understand who is doing what on that. And can be easily created in a softwares that are available, like Microsoft Project Management, or there is 2-3 tools that very much utilized for project management, which we'll be talking about them later on. But the Gantt chart is usually, these are how it shows in a graphic manner, so you can see it and understand what's supposed to be done at what time. Now, these are some samples that we will be talking about it later on. And here, let me know if you have any question, please. When we are doing a project management, usually what's happened is the fact that we want to see are we really progressing in the project? We are putting time, effort, but we cannot, we need to measure this effort and time. And the best way to do it is basically EVM, or earned value management. It is a technique to really to see the progress of projects, how far we have accomplished compared to the budget they are putting, compared to the timing that we are doing, how fast, how are we ahead, are we behind, or we are on the schedule. And it has the ability to combine the measurement of the scope, schedule, and the cost. See, any project or every project, doesn't matter what, they have three things. They have the scope, they have the schedule, and they have the cost. And as a project manager, you can play with these three to deliver. Sometimes they tell you cut the cost. It means you need to cut the scope. Sometimes tell you we want to finish it faster. You need to ask for more cost. So they have a three thing. Any project manager has a three things to do: is looks at the scope, looks at the schedule, and looks at the cost of delivering these things. Um, I don't understand the question here. To put, what's a MCQ? Okay, so the technique for measuring project progress in an objective manner. Who said that? Who said it's mandatories? Did you build the curriculum of education? Besides, project management cannot be, supply chain management cannot be multiple choices. What I'm going to ask you, it's multiple choices in supply chain management. How are you going to explain the EMV? What's an EMV in the supply chain management? How are you going to put it as a multiple questions? That doesn't make sense. Please. That's mandatory. Nice. Anyway, the technique for measuring the project progress in an objective manner has the ability to combine measurement of a scope, schedule, and cost. So the three things has to be together and provide a method for evaluating a relative success of a project at that point of time. So excuse me. So basically, in the EMV, the VEVM is you making the whole project making the project objective. Because right now, if you tell somebody how is your project going on, he's going to say it's going fine. But the management usually they want to know this money I'm putting in, this effort that I'm putting in, what I'm getting today, not what the word fine is not good enough. They want to see it in the numbers. So this is the whole issue of earned value management. Now, the earned value management essential feature is a project plan, as a project plan that identify the activities to be accomplished. So you have activities needs to look at them, and evaluation of each activity of work. So you put a value on them, these activities, you put the value on them, and then you predefine the earning and the cost of it, and how much is being spending on that, which is, comes from the accounting department, versus how much is it producing, what percentage has been accomplished. So if I'm putting $100 worth of project, and the person is only the whole project cost $100, and I find out that I'm spending $50 on that project, and when I ask the project manager, he says, well, we accomplished 20% of it. That means he's accomplished only $20, and I'm spending $50 on it, 50% of the budget. That means he is underutilizing it. He's overspending, and we will be facing a problem of shortage. So this is where the earned value management is essential feature. Now, there is some samples that we're going to go each one of them. We will speak about each one of them accordingly. And this is our graphs that they show the earned value management chart. Now, please let me know how I can do this in multiple choices. If you can be very creative of answering such things in multiple choices, please go ahead. Now, there is the project tracking, basically without EMV today. If you don't have earned value management to it, what do you see? You basically, you see nothing. You see that the PCWS, which is the budget cost of work schedule, and you see the actual cost, okay? And it's basically, if you're not looking at the EVM, you say, oh, wow, these people, they are probably delivering the project, and it's costing us less and less. But that's not what it's showing, really. What it's showing that, you know, something wrong with this. Project tracking without earning value is it's not clear what is it. Okay, so you need to see the project here after week 1 to 4 is overpriced, all right, or actual exceed the budget, and then it went below the budget. It could be so many reasons. It could be you suddenly got a good discount, or you suddenly just stop working and have the people sitting doing nothing. So I don't know, as a project man, as a manager, I don't know whether they are delivering on time or not. So it's not clear for me whether they are doing right thing or not. Now, after 5 weeks, as you see, as I said, is under budget. And that mean here is, it doesn't mean a good news. It just means maybe these guys stop working, or maybe good news, we got a good discount. We don't know that. So without a means of qualifying how much work has been done, we cannot really see whether we are delivering. And in the project management, his job is to manage the project. Is not only to deliver the project end, he's managing the whole time, because anything goes wrong, he needs to fix it on that spot. Now, here, what you see is actually we have two lines. One line is built in the beginning, which is it's called budget cost of work scheduled. So the project manager has scheduled the work, or somebody give it to him. This is the work how will be accomplished, and this is the value of it. And then we will see that the work performed. We notice that the BCWP, which is the budget cost of the work performed, is suddenly, which is this is the accounting cost, it goes down, and the schedule there is a variance. There is a some. It's not matching the budget cost of work schedule, and that's telling us there is something wrong with the project. That we are looking at. It could be something right, but it could be also something wrong. So the project is ahead of a schedule in a week 1 to 5, but in the same time here the project starts slowing down at week 5, and at week 6 is the project start falling behind the schedule, and EMV provide information about the performance according to the schedule. So in the first one, EMV was providing the costing thing, and here is about the delivering of the work. So it is a measurement that we need to look at it. And in general, with a predefined method of qualifying the quantity of work, we can provide that the project budget cost of work performed and the actual cost there is difference between them, which is lower than that. And the reason for it is the project is under budget in terms of actual work performed. So we in the beginning what happened, we overestimated the project cost of work performed, and we suddenly we were able to see we are delivering maybe, but we able to see that we can cut some cost variance. The cost is lower than the project work performed. And but in the same time, we noticed that the fact that if we look at this, this looks very fine for me. If you give it to any manager, what he's gonna see, he says, wow, the budget cost of work performed is high, but the actual cost that we are paying is lower. So while we are saving money here, but actually we're not saving money, because what's happening here, we are not delivering according to the budget cost of work scheduled. So once our performance is became lower, and once our performance is lower, then our actual cost is lower. In general, this is how they calculated. We have multiple activities, and at a certain time, which is the time of X, we want to see all these activities of the one project, how is being calculated. So we look at project A, and the project A is costing us, we budgeted 18,000 and really cost us 18,000, and it's being delivered. Now, on a activity B, where we have only delivered 80%, and the whole budget was 10,000. So we did not, deliver 100%. At the time of X here, we have the activities is delivered 70 to 80, but the expected here it should be almost 80%. So the 70% is from here, the red one, and the blue one is the ones who's not been delivered so far. Here is a 20% is not being delivered. Here at that time, that much 30 or 20% not be delivered. At the activity D, we suppose at the X time have already delivered 15%, is nothing being delivered, and it costs $40,000. How this all will be calculated is in um, uh, basically, so as we said, at the time of X, activity A is already delivered, 100%. The budget cost was 18,000. At the time of X, activity B, 80% completed. We still have a 20%, and budget cost was $10,000. Activity C is a 70% completed. Budget cost was $20,000. 80% of this activity should be completed by X time, which is we completed only 70% of it. So this is how the thing is, and the activity D, 15% by the X time supposed to be delivered, and of activity should be completed by now, and it's not being completed. So the whole, the budget cost of work schedule is we look at the activity B, A, and we said it's cost 100, we delivered 100% and is 18,000, so $18,000. Activity B, we delivered it 100% and cost 10,000. In the C, we're supposed to deliver 80%, and what we delivered only 70%. So 80%, it costs now 80% of the $20,000 is 16,000, and we didn't deliver anything. And by this time, we're supposed to deliver 15%, which is we're supposed to consume 15% of the $40,000 as a budget of work. So this is the budgeted. This is the money that the budget put for the cost of work. Now, we look at the work of the performance. What's happened here? We deliver everything, which is 80,000. We said that 80% of the activity B is 8,000, and 70%, we said in C, we delivered 70% instead to be 80%. So it's a 14,000. So if you notice that there is a difference between a budgeted cost of work schedule and budgeted cost of work performed. So this one is a work schedule. If you notice, BCWS, that's the work schedule. That's a BCWP here, that's a work performed. Okay, so the schedule, this one, and we notice that in some cases we are behind in the schedule. Okay, so what we do, we schedule some example is the schedule variance. So the schedule variance is usually the performance, the P, minus the scheduled. And here what we have done, we spend it $40,000, the performance, and we have a scheduled 10,000. So basically what's happened here, we are saving $10,000, but actually we are not saving $10,000. We're not meeting the speed of the budget, the speed of the spending. So, so what we are doing here, we are underperforming. So here, if you see, this is the performance and this is the scheduled. And what we have delivered 40,000 worth of work in a time that we're supposed to deliver 50,000 worth of work. So we spent 50,000 for a product that so far has been um, giving us a profit of 40,000 only. So there is a 10,000 minus that's costing us. Okay. Now, so the actual cost is we got from the accounting department. Here, as we said, the schedule performed index is work performance over work schedule. And we said it's cost us 40. So what we did is actually we delivered only 80% of 50,000 that we spent. So it's 10,000 have we spent extra on a product that giving us only 40,000 instead of giving us 50,000. Now the cost variance is it's basically budgeted cost, work performance, and minus the accounting cost. So we take the real cost, which is the work performance, with all the worst things in it, which is only worth of 40,000, and then we go to the accounting department, and they give us the actual cost. Now, why there is a difference between the actual cost and the schedule cost is the fact that sometimes there is two reasons we are behind in the delivery. One is the fact that the whole team is there and everybody is underperforming. So there is a spending standard and underperforming becomes a standard. But sometimes not the whole team is there. For some reason, some of the team is out of work and they're not getting paid. They're calling sick or they have other things that were sent to, and the work behind, and the accounting is not paying for somebody who is calling sick or he has something else to do. So that's where the actual cost differs from the performance cost. So you got the picture, is the fact that sometimes the actual cost is the performance lower than the schedule. When the performance lower than the schedule, there is two reasons for it. One reason, they are underperforming. The second reason, they are not bringing the resources. So if you have a full resource and they're underperforming, is a different than you don't have the full resource, you have less resources and you are underperforming. And when the accounting department sending us the actual cost, it will be clear for us which part it was caused by underperforming and which is caused by a limited resources. So here is the cost variance, is the fact that work performance minus the real cost. Our work performance, we said it's a 40,000 and we scheduled 50, but we end up with a 40,000. And the actual cost is 45. So as a matter of fact, if you compare 5,000 loss versus the 10,000 loss, here we can say one thing, is the fact that there is a 5,000 due to underperformance, And there is a 5,000 due to outside reason that we didn't get the resources or the product on time. So with this gets clear that the $5,000 is the differences. And then you have to calculate the CPI, the cost performance index. So you take into consideration the real cost, because this 5,000 is due to from outside reason, and you divide it on the actual cost. And here where you get the percentage. So if it is equal with 1 or the higher than 1, means the costs are higher than the plant. So your cost is really higher if it's more than 1. If it's performance index, if it's 1, the costs are exactly as the plant. So, and if it's less than 1, then its cost is lower than the planned one. Okay. Now, what we will do, we will take a break for 10 minutes, and we will be back after the break. Okay. Let me know if you have any question.